Hello, everybody. I'm the Wasteland Viking, and welcome back to The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. So, a little explanation behind this episode is that when I was remuxing or like changing the format of the video from OBS to the editing software that I use, the file corrupted apparently. So I had to restart from the beginning, and I knew that I missed a piece of the puzzle in the beginning forest trap area. I'll show you guys where it's at. It was obvious. I had to look up a little bit just to have some help with it because I was looking everywhere for it and I couldn't find it. So, turns out it was actually like just off the tracks just a little bit. Uh, it's obvious once you find it out. But this is the last piece, and also this is the final puzzle, so hence all the bones and whatnot. And yeah, so overlooking the valley, so I'm just looking over this bit to see if there is anything. Oh, a note, it looks like. So this might help explain a little bit more story-wise of what's going on in the plot and whatnot. And also I did a bit of research behind the game in general. The developers, they did not make the disappearance or whatever of Ethan Finch, or of, what is it? Edith Finch. The font and like the cover art looked very similar. That's why I kind of drew that connection to, but they're not at all from the same people. And also, this game takes place in Red Canyon Valley or something like that in Wisconsin. So I thought it was going to be like Maine or Appalachia area, but no, it's more in the middle from where I'm from. I'm from Utah, so it's kind of in the middle. But yeah, Wisconsin. And yeah, so that's a bit more of the area that we're in. So if you're from that area, this game's, around there. It'd be cool if there's some people that are actually from there and could be like, oh yeah, I know that bridge or whatever. Or it's just a fictional, just, imagery just, taken from the thing. Anyway, so let's read this. Sap. Let's read that. Sap, an old man came to the forest every day to drink sap from the trees. To get there, the old man had to step around many dangerous traps. The villagers believed this old man had hidden a jade amulet in the forest, but the old man wanted the villagers to believe this, because then they would search the forest for treasure and not drink his sap. One cool fall night, someone set fire to the forest, and the fire spread to the village. The old man escaped the fire by covering himself in sap. When he returned to the village, he found all the villagers' bones. The old man sat down and cried. Then he found more sap to drink. Okay.
Ethan, I told you, you can't be here.
But Grant, I wrote something for you.
That's real nice. Thank you. Just leave it. I'll read it later.
Okay. Oh. I forgot that the environment changes. So for the next bit, like an hour ish, between 50 to 60 minutes, I already know the next part of the game. I'm not going to say anything because spoilers for whoever cares. But yeah. So Ed, I'll spoil this a little bit. Ed we'll see later, like very soon in this episode. So yeah, I'm guessing like moonshine or something like that, the bottles. It could just be whiskey for all we know, or alcoholic drink or whatever. One dead in house fire by Jeff Yermu, I don't know. Bayfield County, fire damaged a historic home in Red Creek Valley. That's where we're at. It's in Wisconsin. Wednesday morning, according to officials from the Bayfield County Fire Department. A family of 6 was asleep when the blaze broke out at the remote house, once owned by Albert Vandegrift. At 46, Old Ogden Road in Red Creek Valley. Gail Carter, so I believe that's the grandmother, 58, was pronounced dead at the scene. Remaining family members were able to escape. Carter's husband, Edwin, Ed, 62, told investigators he may have fallen asleep with a lit cigarette in his hand. Firefighters were dispatched to the scene at 1:22 a.m. and remained at the scene until around 5 a.m. Wednesday. They returned to the property 4 hours later to extinguish hot spots, which had rekindled. Assisting at the initial fire was the Ashland Township Volunteer Fire Department. Masonville Emergency Medical Services was on standby at the scene. So that was one of two. Oh, there, you just had it. Okay. After a heated public hearing, no answers for Vandegrift Heirs by Tom Otten. So these are two different news clippings. Bayfield County members of the Vandegrift family again gathered in the Bayfield County Courthouse today to debate the fate of the Vandegrift fortune, which has remained in escrow since 1961, when family patriarch Albert, 71, died in a mine accident, the after effects of which nearly destroyed Vandegrift industrial and several damaged the local economy. James, 38, of Chicago, argued that his father's demands were unreasonable and that many Vandegrift family members have personal reasons for wanting to avoid living in Red Creek Valley on the Vandegrift estate as stipulated in the elder Vandegrift's will. The recent fire in which the Vandegrift home was damaged, he said, only underlined his family's concerns. Since 1967, the Carter family has lived upon the former Vandegrift estate as temporary caretakers. Okay, so that's a little bit more into the Carter background story. So yeah. Not much else to say beyond that. Oh. Oh. I'm guessing that's supposed to be like Marlboros or Aduro, unless that's actually like a cigarette brand that I don't know about. But yeah. Cool shit. Okay, so old man drinking sap for whatever reason, for wisdom or whatever the hell. Or just for shits and giggles. I don't know. Some weird shit happened back then. Oh yeah, and also the timing of this I believe is 1971 from what I read. And yeah. So a while ago. And times even then were very different compared to other stories of Lovecraftian nature. I'm assuming this is a Lovecraftian book, like, you know, game, because in my view of or search for, you know, like, oh, what's a good, you know, Lovecraftian kind of story to start with as far as a game goes, and this is in like a couple of top 10 lists, so I'm guessing it's that. And I always forget that occult doesn't exactly just mean like Cthulhu mythos type shit. It's also related to just supernatural phenomena to begin with, so that's me just being naive and assuming that this could just be that. But anyway, the trap was is like the quickest way to get there, essentially. Actually, yeah, it's the only way to get there. But no, if coming down the tracks, it's sitting right here. And obviously when you're not looking for it, I didn't see it. It was laying down flat. It was another one of those catapult spike board kind of traps. Yeah. So anyway, pretty much what I'm going to do, well, and also this is one of those games where it just does autosaves. You can't manually save. Can you? No, you can't. So because of the file corrupting and whatnot, I have to start from the beginning, and that's why I'm here where I'm at. I could have just continued on, or I could have actually, you know, put some effort into it to show a little bit more of the background, which obviously that's really good info because that kind of the origin of why the Carter family is here to begin with. So it might explain a little bit into more of that family fortune kind of idea. But anyway, so I will do the stuff that I did last episode and pretty much go to where I left off last time. So I will see you guys then. Also, another thing that I mean, I just did this part, but yeah. So where to find the crank? It'd be like, oh well, how did I know about that? You know, the whole searching mechanic thing. It's just there, and then actually gives you a vision of where it's at. So it makes a little bit more sense that way. And man, it sucks when that thing drops to 15. But anyway, I'll probably come back from time to time for a bit more insight of actually doing a detective's work rather than be like, oh well, arbitrarily that piece would be there. So yeah.
Whatever
Alright.
had turned
No.
Ethan's family against him, the grandfather was trying to resist. Age helps
Forgot
against
about
those
this part.
things that feed on hate. Not because of wisdom or experience, because the old are tired. Their hate is less useful.
Okay. So after a bit of speed run, that only took me like 10 minutes to do. But yeah. So where we left off last. Yeah, I wasn't crazy. When I was editing, I noticed a red blinking thing as well, or just a general. Like, oh, you know, just going crazy or some shit. But no, I actually saw that. Looked like it was on top of a stick or something like that, but I don't know. It may have been like just a glitch. I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't know. It was very obvious. But yeah. So with the sleeper in general, I did once again more research in general. The reason why I'm thinking this is a bit more Lovecraftian as well is because, well, I don't know much about like the hocus pocus witchcraft type of stuff. I don't mean it to, you know, hocus pocus isn't like, oh, you know, a bunch of hoo ha. But so I believe in it to an extent, but no, the reason why I'm thinking this is a bit more Lovecraftian mythos, like Cthulhu type stuff, rather than like ghosts and witchcraft and whatnot, which they go hand in hand very similarly. But the sleeper. Now, the sleeper is usually referred to Azathoth, because you know his part of the mythos. Sorry, I'm keep on turning down my mic, but it's because I keep going in the red whenever I talk. So I don't know. I don't know about that, but whatever. It's still going in the red. Well, not as much, but anyway. Is Azathoth's like part of the mythos is that our reality, or even multiple realities, are his dream. So if he were to wake up, or when he wakes up, all of it ends. Like Thanos' snap just doesn't exist anymore. So there's that. Even some of the other elder gods and whatnot would cease to exist. But also, I asked my brother about this to be like, hey, confirmation, what's going on? Cthulhu is also known as the sleeper. Actually, that was the first one that he, you know, said. I was like, so which elder god or whatever is, you know, known as the sleeper? And he said, well, Cthulhu. And then obviously I brought the point, isn't Azathoth also that way because he is also asleep? But what makes me curious is that they say Corvus. Now, in the news clipping that we read about, I mean, unless I just read it and didn't think about it, I don't think Corvus' name is in it. There's going to be a lot of ranting, or not ranting, but, you know, talks like this, because it's a very big world, the idea of the mythos and even just occult things in general. It's huge. So for me to understand some of the pieces, I have to sort of talk this shit out. And there's some people that are way more knowledgeable about it than I am. I mean, I'm very basic with what I know and understand. Also, I'm seeing if it's lagging, because when I was editing, it showed some lag happening, but when I rewatched it in a, you know, media player, it wasn't lagging at all. So I don't know if it was just my editor being weird. But last time, like, we went up there and saw a grenade and whatnot. I don't know if it has any relevancy at all, so I'm not gonna I should probably pick it up just in case it is something. But no, yeah, when I was doing stuff and you saw, like, the look of discomfort, the noises that this game makes, it doesn't make me uncomfortable, but it does to a point because it's one of those things I don't know what's going to show up or anything like that, so just more of like a wincing sort of thing to be like, you know, brace for a scare. So I'm just going to quickly grab this. And that I know of, I had no idea why grenade's up here or what it's doing. And it looks like a pine cone. And then it phases into a grenade. I realized that also when I was editing. So I was like, wait, it was a pine cone. I mean, that's kind of part of the idea as well, or the world, is that things aren't what they appear. That whole thing, which is a trope of Lovecraftian horror, which I freaking love. Anyway. Yeah. I did a little bit more looking around and whatnot as well after last episode. Well, in my other recording of this part, but that's all a thing. And also, yeah, I noticed that I missed a lot of shit. Like, obviously, I was supposed to put the rock back, but I didn't see, you know, rock in the place where it was supposed to be put for that, so that's just me not paying attention. I could blame it on ADD, but I was trying to be extremely meticulous, and even being meticulous, I didn't, so yeah. Anyway. As far as that creature sound, I still don't know if it's an unnatural woodland noise or not. Or if it actually is like a bird of some kind that actually is local to Wisconsin. So yeah, I mean, like, I've heard animal noises before. That sounds more like a goddamn dinosaur than a thing. But yeah, there's this. This tripped me out at first. I was like, what the fuck? We're in space now? What's going on? I still have no idea what this dude's about. Oh, yeah. And, yeah. So you can hear where he reappears and whatnot. If you take too long, it ends and you have to start the chase all over again. I'm still kind of going slow just in case. I lost him about 3 times before I was like, oh, I need to actually, you know, look more forward and keep going. Do-do-do. Cello, I love the cello. Yeah, like, I mean, you'll see in a minute, it's pretty cool. It's a really cool part. So where it came from, there isn't anything. Alright, fair enough. Yeah, how they've been putting this together is really cool. Experimental containment capsule number 86911. When I first saw this, I was like, oh shit, we're fucked. Like, so this is, well, I mean, they were talking about stopping time and that he is time. That's why I'm thinking it's Azathoth more than even Cthulhu. Unless there's another, time god in general in the mythos or a cult in general. But no, yeah. Looks like there are other people who did the same thing. It took me a while to realize that I was supposed to read this. Fangs. The beast had fangs, but was heavy and slow. So when it saw the light in the sky, it waited, thinking the light would go out, like the others before it. When it did not, the beast rose up on its legs and went to the place where the fire was still burning. So I don't know if this is pertaining to, like, the fire that happened in the village, or it's just a story. As the orange light died, another took its place. This one was blue, a bright and pure blue that the creature had only seen along the edges of the stars. The beast showed its fangs and the light vanished. A moment later, the light appeared again between two distant trees. The beast wanted to go home, but could not ignore the light, so it chased it deeper into the forest. I didn't know there was more to the story. Okay. When the light stopped, it did so in a clearing of trees. The beast entered the circle, feeling no fear. The trees turned toward the beast, pointing at it like needles. But the tops of the trees lowered and dug into the ground. The trunks and roots were raised into the air and closed around the beast like walls. As the ground had disappeared, the creature realized it would never use its fangs again.
Get out of my room, Travis!
Stories, stories, always with the stories.
Get out!
I read the Fangs one. I liked the Beast. At least he gets to leave this goddamn place.